Okay, so today I'm going to show you how to print with jelly plates. Um, the jelly plates are just like they sound. They kind of look and feel like jelly. Um, be gentle with them though. Do not poke into them, stab into them, any of that, because you will ruin the jelly plates and they aren't real cheap. So the first thing I'm going to do is get it all set up on my working space. And the second thing I'm going to do is get any papers that I'm going to print on and get them ready by adding my code. So I'm going to add my class period dash whatever my number is to the backs of all my papers. I'm going to start with just 2. So now that's set up to go. And then the next thing I want to do is I want to kind of line them up so that the jelly plate's kind of in the middle. And I'm going to take some of our painter's tape and I'm going to take a little piece and tape it down. This helps me keep a nice border around my print so it doesn't slide around. So I got that one. And then you're going to do this to 2. So again, put this, line it up so that it can be in the middle. And then you're taping down to the table right there. So now I have these 2 paper flaps that I can work with. You will need a brayer. And then you'll be using acrylic paint in these little bottles. The most important thing to remember about this process is that you don't need a whole lot of paint. If you get too much paint, it'll turn into a mess really quickly. So when I'm squirting it out, I'm just squirting out just little dots. I might put just a little more color in there. All right, I think that's probably good. And then you are going to roll it out. You don't want to just go back and forth. You want to roll and lift so that the ink kind of spreads out onto your plates. If your paint gets a little slippery, that tells you that it's too much paint. You got too much. You don't want it too slippery. All right, so I'm going to put that aside, and then on a scratch piece of paper, or we got some telephone books and catalogs in the classroom, I'm just gonna kind of roll that brayer to get a little of the ink off. And the first thing you can do is you can take these texture tools and kind of create cool textures. So I'm gonna start doing that. And then you probably want a paper towel handy so you can just wipe them off as you go. And then I am going to lay my paper down, give it a nice massage with my hand flat, and then I am going to cool. So I have this cool print. The reason we have 2 papers is because now I'm going to print this ghost print. They call it a ghost print because there's usually still some paint left over, but not a whole lot. And so now I have 2 prints going at the same time. So I think, let's see, let's go ahead and try some dark blue. And the cool thing about this, oh, I'm gonna shake up. Sometimes you have to shake up the paint if it comes out watery. What you don't want to do is try to wash these with water as you're working, because then that is I'm going to make this all messy and you won't be able to pull prints if it's wet. You only want to use paint on this to clean it off. You're just going to take a piece of paper and pull the prints. I'm going to clean that off. All right. I also have this really cool stencil I think I'm going to use. Just put it right there. And I'm going to pull that print by gently massaging it. So there's all kinds of things you can do. The possibilities are endless. Then I'm going to pull that up, set that aside, and then pull the ghost prints. That looked pretty cool. All right, let's go with another color. I'm going to do this light blue. And we want to try to not get it on the edge like I just did. If you do, it's okay. Just clean it off with a paper towel in a minute. Clean that off. Alright, you can also use cool textured things like this bubble wrap and just kind of push them in there. Pull that off. Then I might do some of these cool little shapes. I just cut these out of poster board. I'll push those in there. I might do one more of those, maybe this way. All right, and then I'll print again. So you're just adding layers as you go, and it will end up looking pretty cool. This one seems to have pulled most of the paint, so I don't think I'm going to get much off of that. Probably not. All right, I think I'm going to go in with this yellow again. Doesn't want to come out. Nope. Oh no. If you do get too much paint like that, we can just scrape some of that off. I don't need really that much paint. And I'm just getting like a thin, even layer on top of that. Roll off my brayer. I think I'm going to do these cool hexagonal shapes. Add those. You can use the stencil while it's still on the jelly plate, or you can put the stencil on and pull it off and then print. It kind of gives you different results. Either way, just kind of experiment and see what you like. Then I'm going to pull that one. Ta-da. All right, so that's about it for the jelly printing. And then you're gonna gently pull these off. And before you put this on the drying rack, you're gonna wanna pull off the tape. Be very gentle, pull it slowly, because sometimes it does tend to rip your paper. So I'm pulling it at an angle very slowly and carefully. Ta-da! And these dry pretty quickly because they are thin layers. And that will go on the drying rack. I think I'm going to pull off my tape this way for this one. It might be a little bit easier. There we go. And then that one goes on the drying rack. And then again, you don't need to clean this. I'm just going to fold this paper over. Just kind of stick it to it and pull that off. You can also, if you have paint like this stuck on, you can also put another layer of paint on and then pull the whole layer up, because that wet paint will reactivate the paint that's still on the plates. Again, don't poke these, squish them, stab them, any of that, because they are kind of expensive and we want to keep them nice so that we can pull nice prints.